Hello and welcome back. It is Thrones Revenge here with another YouTube video. Hope y'all had a great weekend. This video is going to be a continuation of my studio videos, but instead of a tutorial, it's more of a look at some of the different techniques that I use in some of my builds to kind of give you a look into how I design things and how I kind of work around different problems and different ideas. So I'll show you a couple of techniques that I use, and then we'll look at the specific model that uses said specific technique, so I can show you the kind of application that I used for that technique, and then a couple other suggestions as well that I have elsewhere in this document. So we'll start quickly with this one. So you know how there is the 1x2 by 2, the bracket. So this is what you do if you do not have access to that bracket in a specific color. So you can use the bracket here, and then the headlight brick right here, as you can see, and then you can just stack this like so. The headlight brick is it has the half plate on the bottom where the bracket, the 1x2 bracket going, the 1x1 bracket going up makes up that other half right there, as you can see. And so I use this for kind of stepping. So when I make slopes, you know how if you have the cheese slopes, they can be lined up in a way where you'll have standard brick, half a plate thick brick, and then you'll kind of switch in between those to get a perfect slope. So the example for that is on my V19. You'll notice that this guy is that same system that I showed you, and that slides in here, right? And that creates a perfect slope right here with no breaks. So if I didn't have this plate here, or if this was the same as this, just stepped up, there would be an edge on this, which would be really infuriating, and that would upset me. So I like to make sure that this is as perfect to flush as I can possibly get it. So that's how I used that technique. Don't save. So the next one is this one. So I use this to kind of connect internals a lot. So if I have a lot of different plates and a lot of things are at a half a plate offset, this is a good way to kind of fix the internals. Another way that you can use this is if something needs to go down and needs to be flush with a plate, right? This is completely flush and goes all the way down. So this is very useful. It's just 2 brackets with the plate in between. The bracket is the same bracket. So I use this kind of building, for example, in my X83 Twintail, right? So this model, if I take this main section right here, you'll see that technique used right in there. So this is a 1x1 bracket upper, 1 plate, 1x1 bracket upper, and then the 1x1x2 bracket, which is these basically 2 of these together with either plate on top, plate on the bottom, and this kind of holds up this whole section. That's how I managed to also build upside down, which is how the bottom of this model is kept so nice and flush. You'll also see that I use a very similar kind of system here. Don't save. Right there. So we'll get up to that one after these next 2. So here are 2 that I use for my Canderous assault tank. So this one this one's super straightforward. I don't really need to show this one. It's just the 2x2 modified plate with the 2 studs, and you can just connect this to a 2x2 snot brick, and that works perfectly for extra reinforcements on the inside. So for my Canderous assault tank, the back of the turret has a lot of this kind of construction to make it really strong and fix some of the issues that I had with structural integrity of the back, since the turret's side sponsons are sideways. So to make sure that the plating on the top held together really well, that's how I managed to get around that. This is another one that is very good, is the hinge plate. As you know, putting a cheese slope, the 1x2 cheese slope like this, will completely have this kind of set in that position. A benefit to that is that putting another cheese slope hides this edge, and so that you can put plates and tiles on it, and you'll have basically flush all on the side. Yeah, there's like a little gap here, there's a tiny bit of a gap there, but it makes it fill a lot of the gaps that you would normally have if you just didn't have this. So if we look at the Canderous, right, and we look at the side profile, you'll see kind of that same building system right here. And then I use the stepping of the slopes similar to the V19, just instead of sideways, it's straight up. And then you'll also see the plate right there. So this is the plate that's holding the 2x2 modified plate with the two studs is right here, and this is holding some of this plating that is underneath, and then all of this is just connected to snot bricks on the sides of the head right here, and that's all connected by these different plate systems. So that's an example of that. Moving on, we have another example of building upside down. So this is so if we move this guy a little forward, you can see it's just a bracket, 1x2 brick, 1x2 plate. This is the Technic brick with the 2 holes, and this is the snot brick, the 1x2 snot brick with 2 studs on one side. And this makes it completely flush. So if I wanted to, for example, put this tile on the bottom, you can see that it's flush with the whole model, all of this. So this is a great way to build upside down, and you can kind of like fluctuate between this. If you put a plate, you can plate the whole underside of a model like that, and then to put some tiling, some, greeble works. It'll kind of give the model some pop on the bottom if you don't want just anti-studs to be shown on the bottom. I use that technique in my alpha, in the Alpha XG1, which I haven't released yet. I'm still waiting for it to be tested and all that. So this is the Alpha XG1. And then if you look at the bottom, so right here, all of this is done in that same system, right? So here's the Technic brick, the connection point is in there, and all of this just sits inside of there, like so. So that works really well. I'm very happy with how that one turned out. Moving on, we have... Don't save. We have this one. So I use this for a tuxedo. So I had these two pieces were white, this piece was white, these two were black, and this was black as well. The internals don't matter as much because you don't see it externally. This was used on my brick heads, and this is just 2 headlight bricks. This is a 1x2 snot brick with studs on one side, and then just some cheese slopes. Fun thing to know is these 2 cheese slopes are the exact thickness of a brick sideways. So if you ever have a hole that is that size, you can use this to fill that gap. I have used that in my alpha because I had that gap hole. For this model, it was a chibi of the ZF member Bavin, who is a little model that I made for fun. I sell these on my Etsy store. I have a limited stock of these if you are interested. But so here's that whole apparatus right in there, right? You see the headlight bricks. This is the bow tie with the white cheese slopes, and then there's the cheese slopes in there. And this whole thing goes inside. And this studs into the 4x4 plate that's on top of it. So this is all very sturdy, very strong. It stays in there really well, and it does not move, which is great. So that's that example. This one is a great way to have Technic beams be hidden inside of your builds. So if you want this Technic beam to be hidden on the internals and tile up the sides, this is a great way to do it. So these are just 2 2x2 with the modified plates with the studs, and then I just tile this up, and that will hide the insides of this Technic beam, this Technic lift arm going on the inside. You'll see that it's studded in with the 1x2 with the 2 holes in it. And I use this for my Sith Enforcer. This is another one that is not out yet on my Rebrickable. At some point it will be, but I use that technique in here. So this whole beam right here, whoops, this whole beam is inside there and is hidden with that same style. Of course, it's not an exact one-for-one representation, but it kind of shows you like different ways to hide what you're building and different ways to, you know, work around some of these kind of problems. This model is very complicated. I could show you a ton of other building techniques that I used, but since it's not out yet, I don't want to show too much, since I want it to be a little secretive, you know, what was on the inside of this monster. And some other examples is mostly for slopes. I try to use a lot of slopes in my models solely because I just like sloping to be done well and sloping to be completely smooth. So here are some slopes that I have. So there's these two are basically just kind of the same thing, but it's a slight offset difference. So this is half a plate in, this is completely flush. So with this one, you'll see that the lip on the inside of the 2x2 slope is exactly half a plate thick. So when you build half a plate inwards, you will remove the sloping, the edge of this. It'll go into this slope. So that looks really nice, but if you want a completely kind of cylindrical build, this kind of makes it not exactly a cylinder. It'll be a little closer to like kind of like an ellipse, but not like a crazy ellipse, like a really subdued ellipse, which is why you can do this one. So this one, instead of using the snot brick, the 2x2 snot brick with the 2x2 plate modified with the two studs, you can do a bracket instead, right? And so when you do that, these two plates that you add are completely flush. So if I wanted, I could put a tile here, right? And that would be completely smooth and be inline, right? So there's that. Or if I wanted to do the slope, that would be a perfect cylinder. Now you have the edge on both of them. So this is closer to a perfect cylinder than this is. And then if you wanted, let's say I wanted to make this 360, right? A good way to do that is you just delete these and do a plate here, and then just copy this, delete this, and flip this. And this should make it... Can you connect, please? We're doing it live. That's the fun part. There. See? So you kind of see what I mean. If you wanted, you wouldn't have to build this like this. You could flip it the right way around, or you can put some plating on the inside to get better structure. It's really up to you on how you do these kind of techniques. The most important part, right, is for your builds to be strong. You want the build to not be flimsy if someone touches it. How you do that is obviously going to be up to your preference and how you personally build. So those are some techniques for sloping, and this one can do the same as this. You can delete this guy, put this plate in, and then this can be a 2x4 instead, right? And we just copy this over, flip it over, delete this, and put this in. Whoop. Sometimes Studio be like that. So you see what I mean. Right, and here's the two edges, and this is the edge flushed in. You can do the edge flushed in the other way if you wanted. Like, let's say you wanted this on top and this to be inside. You can do that as well. You'd have to figure out your own kind of techniques to that. I don't want to give you all the answers, right? And then here's another way to do it. Kind of similar to this, but less complicated. It's the 1x1 by however many plates. I think it's like a brick and 2 plates, snot brick. And so these, you can just connect them like this, and that is also a perfect cylinder. This also works for other slope types, right? So if you wanted this slope type, you could do that. If you wanted this slope type, you can do that. Up to you on how you connect it, the different ways of connecting it internally, and what you want it to look like, and the colors and all that. But I'm just showing you a couple of different techniques that I have used in some of my models to kind of, get the ball rolling, get those brain juices working. If you would like more examples or more suggestions or, other type of this kind of studio content, just let me know in the comments and I'll look through them and see what sounds like a good, fun idea. Hopefully this helped. Hopefully my explanation of this was good. I know I kind of, sped through that, but I wanted to make sure to get, like, as many things in this video as possible and not have this be, like, 30-40 minute video of, like, techniques, because I know not everyone wants to sit through that, and it's not always fun to just watch those kind of lengthy videos. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Couple of updates on my side. Sorry I missed a video. I said I'd give you another video in last week, but I just kind of didn't get around to it. So I'm hoping to fix my schedule a little bit so I have backup videos. So when I say I'm going to make a video, instead of just making a new one when I don't have the time, I will just have one as a backup just in case. So that happens less often. So I'm hoping to make some more in the next coming weeks so that I have a couple of backups just in case. Streams are continuing. If you haven't seen any of my streams, please do check them out. They're a lot of fun. We have a good time. Recently, I finished this commission that you'll see here on the screen. It was a lot of fun. It ended up, I think, being 2-3 hour build, roughly. And then I'll be doing the instructions on Sunday, which is when I'm making this, but it's Monday. So, never mind. But yeah, I'll have more streams. I have a big model that I want to be working on soon. So hopefully that'll be started within the next coming days. And I will post those, as always, on Instagram on when I'll be starting those. And then hopefully the parts for the secret model that I'm working on will be arriving soon. Then I will have a video for that up shortly as soon as all the parts come in for that. So thank you so much for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.